Namaskar, dear devotees and friends. This evening, this Wednesday evening, we'll be discussing the Panchama Veda, Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. The English page is 864 and Bengali 933. Mainly, our topic will be the absolute and the relative are the two aspects of God. So let us begin with this mantra. Tavo kathamritam tapta jivanam kabibhirilitam kalmashapaham sravana mangalam srimadatam bhuvi grinanti e bhurida janaha. So we were listening the conversation between Sri Ramakrishna and the devotees, particularly Dr. Sharkar. So Dr. Sharkar, he was believing at the same time not believing about the existence of God and God in form, and then he was having complete doubt about the God can be in the human form. So with this he came. He was mainly a physician, but when he came to Sri Ramakrishna, other devotees were also sitting over there. So obviously different type of topics came up. After examining physically and then prescribing some medicine, he will be then engaged in this type of discussion. So Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna said, one realizes God by following the path of discrimination and knowledge. That is a valid path in Hinduism, and that is called Jnana Marga. So mainly there are major two paths. One is Jnana, another is Bhakti. The Bhakti means devotion. The Jnana, they don't believe in the existence of God, but they believe that there is something which is consciousness and it is all pervading, and we are also having the consciousness. We are the part and parcel of it. So slowly, by negation, they reach to that conclusion. And that is called the path of knowledge. Constantly you have to discriminate between the temporary and permanent. Then when we discriminate, we see that everything is temporary, right from the sun down to the lump of grass. Everything is temporary. So what remains? The consciousness. They have given the name consciousness as Brahman, and they sometimes use the word Om as the Brahman, and they describe the Brahman as Satchit Ananda, existence, knowledge and bliss, absolute by that way, and they have their own reason why they are saying the absolute, this is the Satchit Ananda is the main Brahman. They have their own arguments. Now it is very, very difficult. I am eating, I am feeling sad, I am feeling happiness. At the same time, I am not, is really very difficult. Some people that do. Bhagavan Krishna, in his Bhagavad Gita, he also mentioned it is a very difficult path, but it's of course a valid path. Adi Shankaracharya, because he was countering the Buddhism, and Buddhism turned to the path of knowledge, as because they were not accepting the God. Lord Buddha didn't clearly mention about the existence of God. So naturally, to counter the Buddhism, Shankaracharya had to give this reasoning. And but other path is the bhakti. The bhakti, the devotion, there they believe that pure consciousness has taken a form and it has taken a name. And the major book of the bhakti is Bhagavata. And in the Bhagavata we find in the 9th, 10th chapter, 10th chapter is dedicated to the life of Sri Krishna. Up to the 9th, it is all God, which is not having any form, but he has created an agent, which is the Brahma, not Brahman, Brahma. This Brahma, four-headed God, a forehead, why? It is all symbolic, because the knowledge and the Veda of the Sanatana Dharma are four: Rik, Sam, Yaju, Atharva. So this Brahma is creating, not the direct, but apparently. He has, from his mind, from his thought, created an agent, the Brahma. Brahma then started creating, and those who have read the Bhagavata, they know all this process. And about the jnana, there also, the same consciousness, it has also created another agent that is called Hiranyagarbha, and from there all the creation comes. Now, we will come to that discussion once again, but let us read and know why this Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna is mentioning the path of discrimination and knowledge. But this is an extremely difficult path. It is easy enough to say such things as, I am not the body, mind, or intellect. I am beyond grief, disease, and sorrow. I am the embodiment of existence, knowledge, bliss absolute. I am beyond pain and pleasure. I am not under the control of the sense organs. But it is very hard to assimilate these ideas and practice them. Suppose I see my hand cut by a thorn and blood gushing out, then it is not right for me to say, why my hand is not cut by the thorn. I am all right. In order to be able to say that, I must fast of all, burn all the thorn itself in the fire of knowledge. There is some incident that we hear from the Swami Vivekananda. He saw it in the Uttar Kashi, at the northern part of India. This is a hilly area, mostly the mendicants, monks, they will be living in a solitude. And one monk was caught by a tiger. And the tiger was holding in his mouth and dragging that old monk. When in that condition the monk was going on shouting, Aham Brahmasmi, Aham Brahmasmi. There was no fear of death. The tremendous practice that has forgotten his own body. He was constantly thinking that he is the consciousness. Whether the tiger is eating and killing, it doesn't matter at all for him. We can imagine the tremendous mental power and the true realization. Otherwise, in that type of situation, it is not possible to think in that way. This is what the path of knowledge. But how many people can do that? Many people think they cannot have knowledge or understanding of God without reading books. There is another group of people, they think you must have to read. You know, India is having 6 systems of philosophy, and different system, they always talk about the ultimate, and they also explain in their own way. Some are there who says you must have to read books. Shankaracharya, in his definition, who can be a perfect student of Vedanta, he said that one must have studied the Veda, Vedanga, either in this life or previous life. Then only he is able to understand this knowledge path. So they think that study is necessary. Without that it is impossible. So Sri Ramakrishna mentioning in that. But hearing is better than reading. And seeing is better than hearing. Hearing about the Benares is different from reading about it, but seeing Benares is different from either hearing or reading. Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna is always focused on realization. And he always said that you have to realize it. Don't take any other agent that he will do for you. Sometimes the people, they always think the guru will do for them. It may be. It has happened in the life of Girish Chandra Ghosh. He completely depended, 100% dependent on Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna, and Sri Ramakrishna saved him. All these are there. But at the same time, some people who are thinking only book reading and then assimilating that knowledge and idea, then only you can get the realization. It is not true. And that example is there in the life of one of the direct disciples of Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna. His name was Laktu Ram. He was from Bihar and he used to serve Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna. He never attended any school. He was helping hands in some house in the Ramdatta. Then Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna saw him, liked him, and asked Rama, instead of sending different type of fruits and other things, you better give this boy that let him be with me. Rama told, okay, let him be with you. And as because he was orphan and he was not having anyone, he started living with Sri Ramakrishna and helping him little bit here and there, but mostly meditating. And that boy who was not having any idea of Veda, Vedanga or any Tantra, he realized Brahman. Swami Vivekananda afterwards, seeing the depth of his knowledge and realization, gave him the name Swami Adbhutananda. He was Adbhuta, unexplainable. How it is possible? Swami Vivekananda said, see, we keep the minds in two levels. There are three levels: spiritual, intellectual, physical. And the mind goes mostly physical and then to some extent to intellectual. But spiritual level, very rare. But Swami Vivekananda said monks should keep the mind on spiritual level, and as because it is not possible all the time, so come down and it should be on the intellectual level. But look at Latu Maharaj. So he is not having any idea, and still the Latu Maharaj constantly keeping his mind on the spiritual level, never coming down to physical level. The intellectual level is not possible for Latu Maharaj. Then where he will keep? Physical level? No. So constantly on the spiritual level. So Swami Vivekananda observed it and he appreciated, look at it. So not that. And this also proves, as Swami Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna is telling, of course Shankaracharya, he kept the portion open. Asmin janmani janmantareva. Either he has read in this life or maybe previous life. So Shankaracharya will argue, oh no, not this life, he has not studied, but he must have read and studied the Veda in previous lives, whatever it may be. At least in present life, Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna never read, but he heard. Hearing is better. Why? You get with explanation. When you are reading, you may not understand things properly. But when you are hearing, and hearing from a particular good person who has the clear understanding of the subject, then you get the explanation. It becomes easy for you to understand. Then he gave the example of Benares. It's a city in India. So some people is reading about the Benares. Oh, this is on the bank of the Ganga and this, that. But when someone is describing after visiting that, it will be so vivid. And he can say that we got down from the train and this is this and this is that. You can visualize. And the best thing, to go and see and realize yourself. This is same thing about the God. When we read about God, a little bit of confusion, we don't clearly understand what is this. But then when the teacher explaining the things, it becomes easy. So reading is good, but better is hearing, much better is seeing or realization. those actually engaged in the game of chess do not always judge the moves on the board correctly. Again, giving an example. But those who play the games, they are very, my God, they are so expert. But still, some people who are observing, maybe they can think, oh, this must be, the move should be like this and must be like that. So it becomes easy. We can give the example of that football game in our country. That football, when we are observing, we see. So if he, instead of giving the ball to that person, if he could give to this person, he was free. He could take the ball to the goal. So it becomes easy when you are observing. But those who are playing, so that is exactly what Sri Ramakrishna wants. The onlookers often judge the move better than the players. The doctor to the devotee. If he, meaning Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna, had studied books, he could not have acquired so much of knowledge. Faraday communed with the nature. That is why he was able to discover many scientific truths. He could not have known so much from the mere study of books. Mathematical formulas only throw the brain into confusion and bar the path of original inquiry. So the doctor, he was just mentioning in that way, Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna. There was a time when I lay on the ground in the Panchavati and prayed to the Divine Mother. O Mother, reveal to me what is the karmis have realized through their ritualistic worship, what the yogis have realized through yoga, and what the jnanis have realized through discrimination. How much I communed with the Divine Mother. How can I describe it all? Ah, what a state I passed through. Sleep left me completely. Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna, very rarely though, he used to tell about his own practices, spiritual practices. Why? Then only the people will understand this. When the doctor commented, it is better that he has not read books. It is not that. He withdrew his all sense organs and concentrated inside the mind, and from there the truth came out. It is not just not reading the books means you will get. Then all these people who are not attending the schools and not reading the books would have been the great scholars. Not like that. You have to meditate and then go deep within your mind and commune with the real original knowledge. Then you become that learned person or rishi or a realized soul. It is not so easy. Just not reading the book doesn't mean anything. So doctor's comment and Sri Ramakrishna's immediately giving the statements, a doctor was a great scholar. In those days, he was a really highly, in the society, they used to talk about him very highly. He was the person who started the scientific museum and all those in Calcutta. Sri Ramakrishna is conversing with such type of people who are really learned, but their learning was shallow comparing with the spiritual knowledge. So he is telling, immediately after doctor's comment, he is mentioning about his own spiritual practices. Why? Because it is not just not reading the book, but I had to withdraw all my senses from the sense organs. And then only, when the mind is controlled, focused, you get all knowledge. That is truth. All the Veda that we find, where from they got it? They got it from this way. Kaschid dhira pratyagatmanam rakshat abritta chakshu amritattamichan. Before that, they judged the whole world. parikshalokan karmachitan brahmana nirvedamaya kritakritena. They were examining the external world, but everything is temporary, temporary, temporary. But somebody is observing, somebody is watching. The day is passing. My body is changing, mind is changing. Who is observing it? I was a little boy, I grew up, then I became young, I am becoming old. Somebody is watching it. Who is watching? I. What is that I? Not the body, body is changing. Not the mind, mind is changing. Then who is that I? That I is completely separate from the body and the mind. The avasthatraya shakshi vichara, that is again another way to understand the Vedantic conception, the three different levels, and ultimately when you observe that there is consciousness and you cannot deny it. So Sri Ramakrishna mentioned that when you go to that, then all knowledge comes. And no one can stand before you. Sri Ramakrishna, a completely illiterate, so-called illiterate, and when he was talking with Keshav Chandra Sen, and in those days Keshav was a great personality. Even the Queen Victoria invited him to dine with her. We can imagine. They used to say, there was a saying, when Keshav speaks, the world listens. Then afterwards, it became opposite. When Sri Ramakrishna speaks, Keshav listens. So that is the tremendous power of spirituality. Otherwise, Sri Ramakrishna was not having any money, any social status, and no certificate, nothing actually. Then why then all these great personalities, they got attracted, and not only that, they were listening to him, admiring him, following his path. Sri Ramakrishna, he sang, "My sleep is broken, how can I slumber any more?" And that is a beautiful song. That sleep means ignorance. It is not the physical sleep. It is the ignorance. When it has gone, then how can I once again go back to that ignorance? What is that ignorance? Accepting this world as truth, and then trying to extract the joy, the happiness permanently from these impermanent things. That is called ignorance. When you understand this world is temporary and accordingly we live into that, then there is no problem. When a person joining an office in the first day of his office, and when he is retiring, the last few days of his office are totally different. Why? When he goes with different ideas. I have to do this, I have to do that. Then ultimately he understood that retirement time has come. I will go away, organization will continue. I was there, just one of them. So in the beginning he thinks, I am going to do it. I am the CEO. He forgets that before him there were so many CEOs. He forgets that after him also so many CEOs will come. So if one can understand that, he lives very happily in this world. I do my job and then I wash. Okay, that's all. What is going to happen? I don't know. Before my birth, this world was there. After my death, this world will be there. What am I going to do with that? This is called knowledge. And when that is there, then there is no. So my sleep is broken. How can I slumber anymore? And he continued, I have not read books, he is mentioning to the doctor and other devotees. I have not read books, but people show me respect because I chant the name of the Divine Mother. Chant the name of the Divine Mother. He is mentioning it in a simple way, as because I take the name of God, the people give me respect, not that. the divinity that came out of his the presence physically and also through his words. It compelled people to accept it. Now, if we see here in Chicago, a few miles away from here, still that place is there where Swami Vivekananda stood, a 29, 30 years young man, and he spoke in English, sisters and brothers of America. And it is reported by the report of the committee, Parliament committee, that 7,000 elites, they stood up, best minds, they stood up and clapped for 2 minutes. How? Why? It was the English words, sisters and brothers. It is not Sanskrit. Because through those words, he gave a real knowledge of sister and brother. And that is called power of words. And no, if I go and say the same thing, no, reaction will be as it was in Vivekananda's time. No. That is called knowledge. The words when it come out, that's called mantra. The same word, everybody knows, but when it comes from the mouth of the Guru, a realized soul, it is more powerful, absolutely powerful than any other. Same word. So that is the reason it says the mantras that the rishis they discovered are nothing but God. Nam, Nami, Ek, Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna said in Bengali. The name of God and the God itself are the same. So he is telling, I have not read books, but people show me respect because I chant the name of the Divine Mother. Shambhu Mallik said about me, he is mentioning what Shambhu Mallik said. Here is a great hero without a sword and shield. Dhal nahi, Torwal nahi, Sardar. In Bengali they used to say. The shield is not there, sword is not there, but he is a great leader. Jokingly, Shambhu Mallik, he was a landlord and he was very close to Dakshinesha. He loved Sri Ramakrishna. And he used to wonder, this man is not having money. He was a landlord, so he was having a lot of money. And naturally influence on the society, good connection with the British officers. But Sri Ramakrishna was not having anything. But wherever Sri Ramakrishna went, he was accepted by the people. How come? So Shambhu Mallik said, here is a great hero. The doctor to Girish, you are a very bad man. Must I go to the theatre every day? Sri Ramakrishna couldn't understand why he is saying like that. Sri Ramakrishna used to love Girish Chandra Ghosh. He was having other things, but Sri Ramakrishna liked him because of his faith. And why doctor suddenly telling him like that, you are a bad man? Then master to M. M means the recorder, Mahendranath Gupta. What does he say? I don't quite understand. The simple person, so he couldn't understand why he is mentioning in that way. The master, Ma, the doctor liked the play very much. Is telling in a different way, sarcastical way, but actually he likes that play. The Girish Chandra staged something and doctor liked that, so almost every day used to visit that. So why should you have to make in such a way? I am so much attracted that I am every day going. So he said, you are a bad man, why should I have to go? Sri Ramakrishna to Ishan, why don't you say something? Pointing to the doctor. He does not believe that God can incarnate himself in a human form. So this is another challenging thing to understand. Yesterday I was talking with the Loyola students that reincarnation or the resurrection of the Lord Jesus. Because the resurrection, from there only Christianity began. Christianity stand on the resurrection. Majority of the people, they think it's a miracle, but it is not. It's a very simple thing for the Vedantin. for the Hindus to understand. Our soul is eternal, but body is temporary. And that eternal soul is living within the body. Why? It is its pleasure. And whenever it wants, it goes away. Then we either bury or burn the body. Body has nothing to do. So this is very simple for the Indians, for the Hindus, for the Sanatanis to understand. But the resurrection that the Christians, they say, they think it is only for the Jesus. No, it is for everyone. So that if they can understand, then there will be no problem. Ishan, what shall I say, sir? I don't like to argue anymore. Ishan was a scholar. But when Sri Ramakrishna said, why don't you say something to that doctor? He don't understand or accept incarnation. The God has taken the human form. Of course, it was really, really difficult. After the Satya Yuga, when the Treta Yuga Sri Ramachandra came, no one could understand that he is God himself. Only a few rishis. Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna said 12 rishis could understand. And the one, as I was reading the Ramayana, Sutikshna. And Sutikshna Rishi understood that Rama is actually Brahman. But when he mentioned that, Rama ignored. Why? Because the people were not ready to understand that. So he never ever mentioned anything about spirituality. That he left for the rishis to say to the world, to the people. Only what he did, he gave what a person should do in relation to son and father, brother and brother, and the husband and the wife, all these relations in the society. Because the human society was slowly growing up. There was a lot of confusion. Though the rishis were there, highly knowledgeable people, but at the same time people, ordinary people, they were not knowing how to live. So the God came in the form of Rama and he was giving that idea. If you notice, in the whole Ramayana, he never mentioned, go and meditate, pray to God, not a single word. The next came after the Rama, Sri Krishna, Dwapara Yuga. And there Sri Krishna showed right from his childhood days so many miracles. He was upholding a whole hill on his finger and doing so many miraculous things are there in his life. Why? To make people believe that even in a human form, God can come and God is all-powerful. So usually people used to think that God means somewhere above. But God also can come in the human form. That was the main mission of Sri Krishna. That's why twice, one is fully recorded in the Bhagavad Gita, that he showed his Vishwarupa. 11th chapter described that. But before that also, he showed that in the court of the king and Dhritarashtra. But their people never understood. Only a few, they accepted Krishna, like the Bhishma and a few others. They accepted Krishna as God. But majority of them, they used to think that he knows miracles. That way they used to accept. It was so difficult for people to accept incarnation because God in human form. Now in the modern age, in the Kali Yuga, at the end of the Kali Yuga almost, Swami Vivekananda said, the day Sri Ramakrishna was born, again the Satya Yuga began. But it is the beginning. Satya Yuga means the Sri Ramakrishna is going on telling, you are nothing but God, you are divine. That afterwards, Swami Vivekananda, in the modern way, he said, each soul is potentially divine. Each soul. The goal is to manifest the divinity within by controlling nature, external and internal. Do this either by meditation or by knowledge or by devotion or by selfless work and be free. Each and every one. So that is the beauty. If we notice, that exactly what I was mentioning there, the Lord Jesus also mentioned, I and my Father in heaven are one. And again he said, the kingdom of God is within you. He never mentioned you are all sinners. I don't know where from they got this. He never mentioned. He rather said, the kingdom of God is within you. What is the kingdom of God? Purity. And what is that purity? Love and unselfishness. It is not bathing in the Ganga or in Jordan. It is not the taking this food or that food. It is love and unselfishness, which is already there within us, which we are also manifesting, but within a small little circle. So that is exactly what Sri Ramakrishna wanted to tell, and he wanted that doctors should understand that. Why? Because they are intellectual people. And if he can understand that, when he goes back and talks to his friends, and the other intellectual people will accept that, it has become easy to spread in the society. So Sri Ramakrishna, he never went to the villages to tell this to the ordinary people. See, he went to Vidyasagar, a very knowledgeable person, highly accepted in the society. He went to the father of Rabindranath Tagore. So that also, and he went to these doctors. And he went to, mostly in the congregation of Diden, there was a great group in Calcutta particularly. It was called that Brahma Samaj. They were all rich and educated people. If the rich and educated people understand this and accept this, it becomes easy to percolate to the all ranks and files of the society. So that is why Sri Ramakrishna asking, this Ishan is a traditional person. He read a lot of scripture and he said, why don't you tell him? Ishan was showing his humbleness. Sri Ramakrishna was not happy in that. Sri Ramakrishna sharply, why? Won't you say the right thing? I know the truth, but I don't like to argue. This is, the Swami Vivekananda also didn't like it. That is a good person, but not expressing its goodness in the society. It is of no use then. The Swamiji said, aggressive goodness. Aggressive badness is there. Badness is always aggressive. But if the aggressive good people are also coming forward, then the bad people won't be there. They won't, because they don't have the courage. They only show up like that. They terrify people, but in reality they are not having the courage. So Swamiji also mentioned, and here we find Master also sharply mentioning, you have that knowledge, you have that capacity to tell people, and if you are not telling, how they will understand? He's making these people missionaries. This is the beauty of Sri Ramakrishna. He's making all these people, they were really capable. They were scholars. They understood the truth. And they had the capacity to explain. But they were a little humble and they thought it is better not to say anything. So here he mentioned, why won't you say the right thing? Then the Ishana to the doctor. Because Ishana, he said, okay, then something I'll say. Our faith is shallow on account of our pride. It is said in the Ramayana that a crow named Bhushandi did not at first accept Rama as an incarnation of God. Once it incarnated Rama's displeasure, it traveled through the different worlds, the lunar, the solar, and so forth, and through the Mount Kailasha to escape Rama's wrath. But it found that it could not escape. Then it surrendered itself to him and took refuge at his feet. Rama took the crow in his hand and swallowed it. Thereupon the crow found that it was seated in its own nest in a tree. After its pride had thus been crushed, the bard came to realize that though Rama looked like any other ordinary person, yet he contained in his stomach the entire universe. The sky, the moon, the sun, the stars, the ocean, the rivers, men, animals, and trees. He is that. In Krishna also we find that. In the Ramayana sometimes this type of stories are there, but in Krishna he showed it to his mother, Yashoda. Then Krishna took a little lump of earth and then ate. And then naturally the mother was concerned. He forced the child to open his mouth and then saw the whole universe. So that is why that just to convince that this is this. The master to doctor, master means Sri Ramakrishna. It is very difficult to understand that God can be a finite human being and at the same time the all-pervading soul of the universe. The absolute and the relative are his two aspects. Friends, the all philosophy actually, they try to answer these three questions. One, who is the creator? Second, how this creation came? And third, what is the relation between the creator and the creation? If you notice that all religions, all philosophy, they try to answer these questions. The Semitic religions like the Judaism, Christianity, Islam, they say it is God. And God has created this universe. And they have given a list that on Monday God created these, and second day, third day, fourth day. Sunday he is taking the rest. That is the Christians. And the Judaism, they say Saturday God took the rest. Christians told afterwards, so they came and they changed it. So Sunday God is taking the rest. Then came the Islam from the same region, and they almost the same way they explained, but they told God took the rest on Friday. Look at it. It is they actually made in their own way. So Saturday for the Jewish, Sunday for the Christian, but Friday for the Muslims. Friday you should not do anything. Who created this? We, human being. We thought in that way. Maybe the great souls, they thought and that's good. That way they did. For the Hindus, it is completely different. God is taking rest. That is absurd. Why? Without God, nothing is there. The moment God will close his eyes, there will be no creation. It is all God's imagination, God's thought that this creation is there. That is why our God is Lord Jagannath. And Jagannatha is not having the eyelid. Did you notice that? Jagannath is having two big eyes, but no eyelid. He is constantly watching, seeing. Because of that, the whole universe is functioning. That's the way the Hindu, the Sanatani, they think. But okay, these are the creators, the God, and they have created in this way. We think not in one day, second day, third day. At a time it was created. Why? Swami Vivekananda said, it is better to use the word projection than creation. Creation means something which was not there, I have made it newly. No, it was there eternally. The only God is projecting and then closing it and taking it back. Like the movie, coming out and it is showing on the screen and then going back again to the film. So like that, the creation. When the first creation? Swami Vivekananda answered, Hindus are bold enough to say, we do not know. Eternal. We cannot say. Why? Because we believe in the karma phala. if we say on such and such date and year, this universe was created, well, before that, I didn't do any work. So my mind was tabula rasa, it was a clean slate, then where from the karma came? Because all my birth is because of my karma. So philosophy, it goes in this way. We have to understand the thread everywhere. If we say this is the date of creation, that before that I was not there, then how come I have taken birth? Why God has created me? You people say you have taken this particular birth, that this particular body, because of your karma. Some are in the animal body, bird's body, and in the human body, male, female, rich, poor. Why? Karma. And that gives the answer properly. Because of this confusion, why one, the same moment, two child is born, one in a very rich family, another is a very poor family. Why? Accident? Nothing can be accident. Everything has a cause and then the effect. A car is colliding with another car. Accident? No. Somewhere, someone that was not cautious, not properly driving. So obviously, cause and effect. The karma is there, action is there, then the result. So this is the creator, and then it is the creation, and in the creation, he gave the karma. But the main question, how he created? Now here again, if we say God created this universe, out of what? Out of different material. That means you are accepting two eternal existences. The material was there in whatever form, and the matter was there, and the intellectual cause, the creator was there. That means two existences. Then it will be colliding. Wherever there is two, it is going to collide and it will break. Shall God die? That is the question Swami Vivekananda asked in one of his lectures. That cannot be. Then how? He created out of his own. Here in the Christianity also we find there was no light. And the God said, let there be light. And there was light. It's true. Just by the thought, if we notice again, I give the example of Lord Jagannatha. The Jagannatha is not having the hands. Why? He doesn't need hands. He thinks and everything is done. We need hands to do something. Jagannatha is not having the legs because he is already present everywhere. He doesn't need the leg to go here and there. So if we understand this philosophical excellent explanation and that abstract, they have given a form in the form of Lord Jagannatha. So this, and now this Sanatana Dharma, they said the all-pervading consciousness, and that is called Brahman, and from that the universe has come. There are references in the Upanishads. It says, Ekoham bahushyama vehi. Eka means one, aham, I am one. Bahu, many, shyama vehi, I like to be. I like to be many. At present I am one, I like to be many. Then it is a thought. The moment there is a thought, then the action begins and it is created. So by that way, the question comes, well, when the God is creating, and in the creation we find two different type of things. One is inert, another is consciousness. Look at our body. Our body is inert, but we have the consciousness which we call prana or mana, mind. So how come these two same, completely opposite thing, consciousness and inert, come together? Then it says, again in the Upanishad, tad srishtva. Tad means T-A-D, tat means that. This is the creation. And in the creation there are trees, there are plants, there are animals, there are reptiles, there are human beings. And that each and everything, tad srishtva, after creating that, tadiva anupravishat. Anupravishat, he entered into that as a prana, as a consciousness. So it entered into that. After creating this universe out of itself, it was as if entered into it. In the Prasnopanishad, those who have read the Prasnopanishad, I just completed the Prasnopanishad, and there the 6 boys, they have come to ask question to a rishi called Pippalada. And from the first to the last, he said, well, you can ask one person one question. So they were asking in that way. The 6th one, he was the son of Bharadwaja Muni. He was a great soul. His name was Shukesha. And Shukesha, he said, sir, I was insulted, I felt insulted because as the prince came and he asked me, sir, do you know this 16-bodied Purusha, about it, do you have any idea? 16-bodied person? And the way they put that, and I couldn't answer. I was ashamed, so I have come to you and staying in your ashrama, and this is my question. So that's a 6th question. If you read, the rishi goes on giving the answer in 5, 6, the mantras. He told him, what is the 16? The 5 sense organs of knowledge, 5 sense organs of karma, then the 5 prana, then the mind. The 5, 5, 5 plus 1, 15 plus 1. This is the body. So that is living inside. What is the mana? Mana is consciousness. And the other 3, they are unconscious. They all together live in the body, and that is called 16-bodied person. And then he was going on mentioning that he created the prana, the consciousness, and also these. In a very nice way, he gave the whole creation. Now the question comes, this is a consciousness, and from consciousness come everything. And then the consciousness entered into millions of things. The consciousness is entering into a butterfly, the consciousness entering into an elephant, consciousness entering into a human. That means he is dividing itself to everything. And he is no more. How can that be? Because he is going on distributing himself into all this. As a dough we see, out of that so many braids will be made. But after making 100 or 200 braids from the huge lump, that is not there. Where it has gone, it has become braids. Is it like this? Now the consciousness has distributed itself among many and it is not there? No. Again, they say, no, it is not like that. And that's why they say, Purnamada, Purnamidam, Purnat Purnamudachyate. Purna, it is total, other, that. Purnam idam, this creation, that divine is complete, and this created, this universe is also complete. Purnasya Purnamadaya, from that total consciousness, when this total created thing came, the total consciousness remained as it is. And that is the most subtle part of Vedanta one has to understand. How? Reflection. Shankaracharya explained in that way. Some people say, no, it is true. But if you say the consciousness is true, and then you cannot go back. It is like the reflection. The sun's reflection on a piece of mirror acts like the sun itself. Suppose it is a mirror piece and the sun is reflecting. That reflected light can light the whole dark room. And sometimes if you are focusing on a paper, it will create the fire. It will create the warmth. The reflection of the sun, in the villages, people keep the bucket full of water outside and the sun makes it warm. Then in the winter time, they bathe from that warm water. So warmness is there, light is there, fire is there. Where from? Reflected sun. If that can they do, what the real sun can do. So that's why Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna is mentioning this is absolute, at the same time relative. Absolute is there, relative is also there, and it both are true. But at the same time, this is not the way absolute is. But we can go back to absolute. Why? Because when we see that even with the reflected glory, reflected knowledge, reflected power of the Atman, if this much we can do, then why not go to the original? So going back to the original is called spirituality. The process is religion and the goal is spirituality. So that is exactly what Sri Ramakrishna is going to go on harping in the mind of the doctor. How can you say emphatically with our small intelligence that God cannot assume a human form? God, can we ever understand all these ideas with our little intellect? And that is the problem. We try to understand the whole with our little intellect. Now the different rivers in the Prasnopanishad, he is giving the example. The different rivers, different names and different forms, they are all coming and mixing with the ocean. What happened? They become ocean. No more river, they become ocean. Individual self, the reflected, that consciousness, when it goes back to the pure consciousness, it becomes Brahman itself. How? The knowledge. Brahmavid, Brahmaiva bhavati. After knowing the Brahman, you also become Brahman. After merging with the ocean, the river becomes ocean. The friends, we should stop over here, continue from in the next week again. Thank you.
So the first question is from Abhishek Banerjee. He's saying, Thakur said at the end, just like one thorn takes away another thorn, same as you have to throw away jnana and ajnana. What does that mean?
That means that is the when you are taking out one thorn, that means the ajnana, with the help of another thorn, that is the knowledge. What is ajnana? I belong to this body. I belong to this world. Though it is all temporary, everything is changing. So that is ajnana. Then you go to Guru or to scripture, you come to understand there is something permanent, that is I, and I is the consciousness. Then you overcome this, and then if you remain the I, the consciousness, you cannot become the ocean. If the river tries to keep its own identity, it won't be able to become ocean, because you have to completely surrender into the ocean. Similarly, if you are retaining even the knowledge ego also, then you won't be able to realize the Brahman, which is completely free from ego. That is exactly what Sri Ramakrishna wanted to mention. You have to give up the knowledge also, and you become that. Tat tvam asi. So that is how they say, Tat is the Brahman, Tvam, you, see, you are that. Thank you.
There is one user, his name is Kamalaksha Das. He wants Diksha, so I gave the email address.
Okay.
Second question is the user SM. When we mistakenly tell a lie, not on purpose or to hurt someone, realize later that we have said a lie, how can we ask Ma and Thakur to help us to forgive? How can you ask us to develop a bhakti not to lie?
You know that Ma Sharadamani Devi said, if you are going on handling the flowers, and you will get the fragrance in your finger itself. So if you go on thinking of God and the Thakur, Ma, Swamiji, and that they are always with you, you have the picture, photo of them in your room, and when you are going out, taking their permission, informing them, coming back and reporting to them what has happened to your office and this, that, as if they are there. Don't look that they are photos. They are a living being. So you come, again report to them, talk to them, your problems, ask for the solutions, and that is the way one develops bhakti. Because Vishwas, bhakti, the faith and then the devotion. Have faith, they are there. Just go on talking, because mentally we go on talking constantly. So do that with the Thakur, Ma, Swamiji. Of course, not in that way the people will take you to asylum. He has lost his brain, not like that. Mentally, that you are talking with them. So that will develop your devotion. And about the lies, if you realize that that was a mistake, pray to God. I did a mistake, please forgive me. And you will be forgiven.
The YouTube user SPM is asking, Thakur said we have to weigh everything in a bell fruit from shell to seeds. Does Thakur mean accept this world and everything as manifestation of God?
Yes.
To help grow in spirituality and bhakti?
Yes, that is true. So there are two concepts. The Shankaracharya, he said, give up this world and go only to that consciousness. But Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna said, this world is also made of that same God. It is not that each and everything is God, but God is reflected. So Ishavashyam idam sarvam, that the first sloka of the Ishopanishad. So obviously everything is nothing but the God. And if you see in every being the God, then you need not to give it up. That is exactly what Sri Ramakrishna said. His wonderful statement, if you can see God by closing your eyes, can't you see God with open eyes? Without God, except God, is there anything else? So all these poor, downtrodden people, you are saying, oh, you are low caste, you are this, you are that. You are actually pushing away your own God. And then you are going to the temple, the God won't be there. God is these people only. So everywhere God is there. Even the great scholar and the saint and Kapila, when he was talking with his mother, he said, see, people don't understand. They think I means the God only in the temple. No, I am everywhere. Friends, we have to understand this. That's why Swami Vivekananda, he mentioned, Jibe prem kore jei jon, shei jon shebiche ishar. Those who are really loving the beings, living beings, he is truly worshipping God. But at the same time, we should not denounce the temple and the images of the temple and the puja of that. No, that is also true. This is also true. That taking everything, what Sri Ramakrishna said, then only you can get the total weight of the fruit. You have to take the shell and also the kernel. Then only. Thank you.
Shomen Das is asking, does God help for the people who are in distress and how does he help?
Oh, Of course he can, he will. But you know, each and everything because of the karma phala, so we have to suffer a little. But if we surrender to God and pray to God and beg for His help, of course we can come out of it. And Ma Sharadamani Devi said, when there was another, in your fate, it was an amputation of your leg, maybe you will find a nail or something is pricking your leg. So that much, that little pain you have to bear, but the maximum thing that was supposed to happen, that will be stopped because of your prayer. But genuinely you have to pray. And if you are praying for your benefit so that the other gets suffering, no, that prayer won't be answered because the others are also the children of God. And the main thing is the faith. And how God helps, that is a good question. He gives us the proper thought. In the Bhagavad Gita, Sri Krishna mentioned, Buddhi yogam dadamaham. Dadami, I give. Buddhi, the intellect. I, aham, give them intellect, proper thought. So that particular moment someone will come and he will tell you, this is the thing you must do. You also accept that, you do that, you come out of your problem. And who gave that? This God's grace, you understand what is true. So this play to God and your thought, that will tell you what you should do and what you should not. Thank you. Okay. Okay, friends, thanks for the good questions. And let us chant this mantra and we conclude. Niranjanam nityam anantarupam bhaktanukampa dhrita vigraham vai Ishavataram parameshamidam tam Ramakrishnam shirasa namamaha. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.